Wow. Okay, let's just dive right into this absolutely wild matchup. We're talking about a game that looked practically over, beautifully wrapped up with a bow by Norway, right up until it descended into pure chaos. In this explainer, we're breaking down an incredible World Cup clash where Norway barely survived a 3-2 thriller against Senegal. We had Erling Haaland doing exactly what Erling Haaland does best, with a consecutive brace. We had catastrophic defensive blunders, and we had Ismaila Sarr delivering a 93rd-minute heartstopper that practically turned MetLife Stadium upside down.
90. That is literally exactly how many seconds stood between Norway comfortably celebrating their ticket to the knockout stages and complete, utter panic. Norway was cruising, leading 3-1, but Senegal's late, relentless heroics nearly ruined the whole shebang in the dying seconds of stoppage time. It was the kind of finish that absolutely shredded the nerves of every single fan wearing red.
All right, let's get into the high stakes and the early drama.
So to really grasp the sheer panic of this final moments, we need to rewind a bit and set the stage. The stakes here, they could not have been higher. Ståle Solbakkens Norway entered this game knowing for a fact that a win would secure their qualification out of the group. On the other side of the pitch, you had Sadio Mané's Senegal, fresh off a 3-1 defeat to France, literally fighting for their tournament lives. Lose here, and their World Cup dreams were on life support. And the drama? It started almost immediately. Just 13 minutes in, Norway faced a massive setback. Their regular, super dependable right back, Julian Ryerson, goes down with an injury and has to be taken off the pitch. Solbakken is forced to look to his bench incredibly early, bringing on Marcus Holmgren Pedersen to make his World Cup debut in this incredibly high-pressure scenario.
But you know what's just incredible here? It's how quickly an emergency substitution turned into pure gold. Right before the half, in the 44th minute, Senegal's captain Kalidou Koulibaly makes his first catastrophic blunder of the night with a terribly loose clearance. And who's right there to capitalize? The debutant, Pedersen. He takes 2 touches, sends a shot towards the near post, and honestly, it was a totally savable shot, but it glances right off goalkeeper Edouard Mendy's left hand and finds the back of the net. Boom, 1-0 Norway right before the halftime whistle.
Moving on to the Haaland show, and man, what a shootout this turned into.
Seriously, if you thought the first half was tense, the second half just blew this match wide open. It totally stopped being this tense tactical battle and transformed into an absolute rapid-fire shootout. Over an insane 14-minute window, the entire momentum of the tournament shifted. Between the 44th and 58th minutes, these two teams traded 4 goals back and forth. It was heavy metal football at its absolute finest. If you looked away to grab a snack, you missed a massive momentum swing.
The chaos really kicked into overdrive just 3 minutes into the second half. In the 48th minute, Norway launches this blistering quick counterattack. Martin Odegaard, surging up the field with just unbelievable vision, slides a perfect pass right through the Senegalese defense. And waiting on the other end? Obviously, it's Erling Haaland. He doesn't hesitate for a single second, slotting a clinical left-footed finish straight into the upper right corner. 2-0 Norway.
Now, the crucial number you need to know here is 9. That goal wasn't just beautiful to watch, it was actually historic. It marked Martin Odegaard's 9th career assist to Erling Haaland while playing for the Norwegian national team. That is the most assists any single player has ever provided for the striker in his international career. It's so fascinating because, these two are fierce Premier League rivals for Arsenal and Manchester City, but the second they put on that red shirt, they become a truly devastating duo.
But hey, Senegal was absolutely not about to pack their bags quietly. Just 5 minutes later, in the 53rd minute, they clawed their way right back into this game. Sadio Mané executes this remarkably clever flick into the penalty area, and Ismaila Sarr shows immense composure. Even though he's tumbling to the ground, Sarr actually manages to poke the ball home. Suddenly, it's 2-1 and Senegal is breathing right down Norway's neck.
Which brings us to the 58th minute. It's like a perfect tale of two extremes on the pitch. On one side, you have the villain of the match for Senegal, Captain Kalidou Koulibaly, who was at fault once more, failing to clear across from Patrick Berg. On the other side, the hero, Erling Haaland. Tunneling through the defense, Haaland decisively volleys the uncleared ball off the crossbar and in. And here is the real kicker. He did it with his weaker right foot. Clinical perfection punishing a catastrophic blunder. 3-1 Norway.
The stadium atmosphere after that goal was just electric. Haaland runs to the corner, raises his hand to his ear, and completely ignites the thousands of red-clad Norwegian fans inside the stadium. They immediately broke into the iconic Viking row, chanting "row" at the top of their lungs, actually sitting down and mimicking oarsmen in a longship. It was one of those spine-tingling moments of pure footballing culture.
Okay, let's talk about Senegal's incredibly late scare.
Remember those 90 seconds of terror we talked about at the beginning of this explainer? Well, Senegal totally refused to roll over and die. In fact, their uphill battle got even steeper before it got better. In the 63rd minute, their super experienced Chelsea veteran goalkeeper Edouard Mendy actually sustained an injury and was forced to leave the pitch. Down 3-1 and missing their star keeper, you'd think their spirit was completely broken, right? But they kept pushing, setting the stage for a frantic finale.
And then, we hit the 93rd minute. Ismaila Sarr, basically putting the entire team on his back, sets himself up and fires in his second goal of the night to make it 3-2. The tension in the stadium was just palpable. In the dying seconds, Sarr even leaped for a last-gasp header that agonizingly sailed just over the crossbar. When the final whistle finally blew, it wasn't a massive roar of triumph from Norway. It was this huge collective sigh of relief. They had survived.
All right, let's take a look at the records and the group impact.
Now that we can all finally catch our breath, let's look at what this absolute thriller actually means for the record books. Beyond just the sheer entertainment value, this 90-minute roller coaster practically rewrote history. Erling Haaland became the very first Norwegian player ever to score in consecutive World Cup appearances. Not only that, he's only the second player in the last 50 years to score twice in each of his first 2 World Cup games, joining Harry Kane, who did it back in 2018. On the other side, despite the loss, Ismaila Sarr's brace makes him Senegal's joint top scorer in World Cup history with 3 goals. And as a team, Norway's victory means they've now secured World Cup wins against teams from 4 completely different global confederations.
But I really want to isolate this one unbelievable statistic for you for maximum impact. 59. With his brace today, Erling Haaland now has 59 goals in just 52 international appearances for his country. Think about that. He has 24 goals in his past 12 international games alone, scoring at least once in every single match. To call him a prolific marksman almost feels like an insult at this point.
However, when we pull up the Group I standings, we see exactly why Sarr's late consolation goal was so devastating for Norway. Yes, Norway has 6 points, and yes, they've qualified for the round of 32. But that 93rd minute goal actually cost Norway the top spot in the group. France and Norway are tied at 2 wins apiece, but France holds the crucial goal difference edge at +5 compared to Norway's +4.
And don't completely count out Senegal just yet. Sure, they're sitting at 0 wins, 0 draws, and 2 losses. They're definitely underachieving. But mathematically, they could technically still slip into the knockouts as a third-place finisher. To do it, they would need to wipe out that -3 goal difference with a massive, historic blowout victory against a reeling Iraq team later this week. It's a very slim hope, but hey, it's not 0.
Which all sets the stage for one of the most anticipated group stage finales we have ever seen. France, Norway. 2 undefeated teams colliding on Friday to decide who wins Group I. Will Haaland's ruthless streak be enough to conquer Les Bleus? Or will France's firepower totally expose a Norwegian defense that almost collapsed against Senegal? I really want to hear from you. Who wins this Group I heavyweight bout? Drop your predictions below. And until next time, keep exploring the beautiful game.